Well, this is Joshua, and this is my 5th video, which I'm going to demonstrate on how to build the module-based rift that can go to multiple floors at different heights you want. So, on floor 3, and I click 1, and we go to floor 1, and I drop down here, and can press 0, and it will come down on 0. So you can see that it's adapting to multiple different floors. So let's get the level open first. The first thing you want to do is grab your toggling interface and add a new function, this time called call riff, and add a new input and make this one an intro, and name it something like the floor. So that will be where you should call the floor riff. So next you want to open up your switch blueprint. You're going to not much point in trying to create a new blueprint for this. It's easier to just reuse your switch from before. So you want to do a branch from here and plug that the old way into false. Make a boolean and call this one called riff. Actually, just name this riff switch actually. So in a riff switch, it will use the true bit. It will, if you don't toggle this, it will be using the old method of interaction. So make that by default false. And actually, so from here, you want to get the array. You also need to add riff floor number, and that will be where it would call the riff. So make that intro, make that expose, and get that too. And now you want to set, you want to call the call riff button. So not that one. Call riff. I just need to untick that and then there it is. And then plug that into there. And that's it for the button. And you just want to recreate this part, so I'm just demonstrate that quickly. So just to make it a little bit more easy, I'm going to make this red. And then to add some text in front of that. And go to center it and make it black. All this is to show what number floor it is. So you want to go to your construction script this time and then set text. Not that one. Want this one. And you want the floor number into this. Like that. So it would just show whatever the number is. So at the moment it's 0. And that way you don't need to worry about setting the text each time you do a different number. And also you don't want that number to be visible when a normal switch, so to set it, you want to set your text to not render. You want it visible only if it's true. Make sure you set the number, not the other text. So that the switch now done. So let's quickly add some buttons down here. Oh yeah, you copied and paste your text, it will still be hidden in game solder. This a bit here. Oh. Why? Strangely the text not displaying. So toggle that, and then the number will display. Bring the text slightly closer so I can see it. There you go. So this is for 0. Put this up there, and this will be for 1, for 2, and then all the way up there, leave this floating up here and make this for 3. So that are your buttons set up. You just need to link it to the elevator after we've done this. So you want to create a new blueprint and make this one actor. And name this one blueprint with. And just to make this more simple, I'm going to copy my demonstration one. Copy and paste this into this. So if you just want to know what this is, all it is a bunch of cubes. So you got the base there, that the main part, and then make sure the rest are children. This will run cube just so it looks like some sort of piston, so it's not just floating in the air. And then this panel is going to be where the buttons are. And most important is this arrow. Make sure you have this arrow attached to your button panel, because we will be needing that. So the first thing you need to do is create your 2 variables. You want current height, which will be intra. I'll put current floor instead. Duplicate. Actually, don't duplicate that. And name this next one floor heights. So make that a flow and make this one an array. So that will be the different heights of your floor. So, and also make sure you go to class settings, add your BP interface toggling to it, otherwise this will not work. And you want to first do call with. Make sure you compile, otherwise you will not be able to find the event you need. And then to set that to current flow, like that. And then you want to move component to, and you want the cube. Let's call this one if it's set, so just so you know which one it is, and set that like that. And break that, because we don't want to set the X or Y values. So first you need to get this, and then use get reference current floor, and set that into the Z height. And that actually done now, but I'm just going to add some extra functionality here. You see in this example, it is simply working out mass, so it handles over time better. Otherwise, what will happen if you don't change this? The bigger distance in your floor, the faster the elevator will move. So for example, the height is 5,000, it will move at an extreme speed by default. So just to show what's going on here, you want to get the riff and then break. Get the relative location and break it and get the Z. And then plug them into like that. Like that, so then take away. And then you divide it. You can choose a different divide number. I found 800 worked quite well. Make this an absolute because you want it always positive. And then you can cramp it to stop it being too fast or too slow. And plug that into there. And that bit is now done. And all you want to now is this next section, which is pretty simple. You just want event, toggle, and then toggle again. Toggle a message. So that's it. And that's the main bit. That's the in-game function done. And all rest now is the complicated bit of setting up the construction script. So first, just make sure that it's ticked and get this and do a is valid check. And branch that. This is just to stop you from accidentally trying to tell it to get frauds that don't actually exist. Without that, it will cause a few issues. So then you want to set the relative location of your if. And what will this allow you to do is preview your height. So let's get reference for this. And then get that. And then just set ref location. You want to make sure it's relative, otherwise it won't work correctly. So just break that up and plug that into the Z. So now that's done, I can just quickly demonstrate it. So I add the 4 floors. So ground floor just stay as 0. Second floor, and put up and make sure. So I put 1, it will set it there. So that will allow you to preview it. Then at the moment, floor 2 will put you down the bottom again. So to raise that up. And then to finish it off with the final floor. Like that. And that will allow it to go to all the floors. So just put that to 0 again. And the final section is creating, as you can see here on the example, if I go here and add a new array, it will add a button. And this is what we're going to set up on yours, so you can add multiple buttons. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get your height, get the length of it, so just type length and you'll get the length, -1, like that, otherwise it will cause some. You will add 2 buttons instead of just the one. Even if you put 1, it will overcount. So for root, and plug that into there. And now we're going to use the add child component. Add child component like that. You just split that. So if you don't split it, actually let's see it do. Actually no, you can read that as false. Just read that as that is, and just put manual attachment because we're going to handle the attachment ourselves. And you want to get your switch. And then you can change the switch default settings, so you want to put this switch to true, otherwise you won't work correctly. And then you want to attach this, so you want to attach component to component, and then you want to use, let's see which one. So you want to use the bottom. Let's just name this to panel to be a bit easier to recognize. And plug that into there. And just snap these. You don't need to, because what I'm going to do now is this arrow is going to be used to set up the rotation. So just drag from the child component and then set relative rotation. You want to get the relative rotation of your arrow. Put that into there. Now that is done. And next bit you will be wanting to cast to your switch. So cast. Oh, actually you need to drag from there and get child actor. You don't get child actor, it won't work correctly. And now you can cast to the blueprint switch. Then you want to set the raw number to the number it's currently on. So I will plug this all the way into the index. So that will be setting up the floor now. And then the next bit, you just want to set the text on your number. So you want to get text render 1, or if you named it, so get text render 1 in my case, and then set the text to that. And then that will add buttons to your machine, but at the moment it has add numbers. It would replace it like that. Let's just also just go back to this, break this FL and just make this something small, so otherwise your buttons will be massive like mine. Oh yeah, and make sure keep this willed. There you go. You don't keep it willed, your buttons will be really large. So you can just experimentate with different sizes to see what size of button do you want. And then the final bit for this section is this branch. So you'll be wanting to get the arrow location and get relative location. Split that, and you want to check this is not equal to minus 40. I'm using 40 in my case, but you can use different numbers. So that will be set up like that. And then here I want to add the arrow location. So add local offset to 10. And that will now add location for each time. So right here, actually you want minus 10, otherwise it'd be adding the wrong direction. And then the final bit is this section. So you want to get your arrow again, get that section again. And then you want to set the arrow's relative location. Then you want to just break this. And you want to plug your X into that like that. Set this to default value, so in my case it is 40. And then I'm going to minus this number by 10. So like that. Compile that. And now, as you can see, put the buttons like that. And I can just keep adding and it will put more buttons on. So I compile that. It already got the numbers on because I set it up from before. One mistake I have made is you needed to add to the array. You don't add to the array, it won't work. So go back to your construction script and just from where you're casting, get a new part and search actors. And you want to set the actor array. And in this case, you're just going to be using the if only, so make array and plug in self. You don't do that, your if won't work. And let's finish this off by getting all the switches and add the if to the array. Now we'll demonstrate it again. So using the text is a bit of an issue, but minor. But you can see now and also you can shoot the buttons. So that is now working as intended. And if you don't, with the switch, you can, with the text, you can just disable it, or you can just, instead of doing that, just do set text hidden in game. And that will hide the text, so it's not getting in your way. So, like this. There you go. So I hope this video has been helpful and thank you for listening.